look. Come. No. Don't be on camera. I just want to ask you one thing and let it be clear. Don't run. No. Don't be on camera. What was we just talking about? And the Bible. Okay. So I mentioned. I'm just laying this. I haven't even discussed anything yet. We're just showing people what we were just talking about off camera. So I mentioned the I am statements in John, and I mentioned the Gospel of John, and you said with regards to John that we have a chain of transmission of John, and that we can actually the early church fathers, they demonstrated that John wrote John. Because this is my question to you: how did John wrote John? And you said one of the early church fathers said that it was John that wrote it. And I asked you who, you didn't know the name, but it was Irenaeus of I think it was 180. Irenaeus.
I don't remember exactly, because
I think it was Irenaeus.
Christianity, it's not, the narration and everything is very important to Islam.
Yeah, but it's not important to Christianity.
It's not important to Christianity because we know where it comes from, and it's not like, oh, did he say that or did that one say that? We don't have that issue.
You see.
Okay, we're not going to talk over each other.
You
right?
just spoke up. You just cut me. I haven't made my claim yet.
So let's do this. You make your claim first.
Yeah.
I'll give you the time to speak. We'll both have 2 or 3 minutes to speak. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can somebody clock us for the time? One of these guys can.
I'm reasonable. We can. You don't have to stick to the.
It seems like you are. So I like speaking to you.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
So
I just wanted to be timed because I hate it if I spoke over you. It would not
if you speak over me, it's fine.
If I speak over you and you speak over me,
that's
it
fine.
wouldn't be a good thing.
That's fine.
JC, can we get somebody to keep time? Do you want 2 or 3 minutes?
Whatever.
Okay. We're gonna time it for 2 minutes each. All right. Thank you.
So
he's gonna keep time. He says.
Yeah.
Your Muslim brother will keep time.
Inshallah.
All right. So once he starts the time, can you start the time for him, please, so we can get this going? 2 minutes each. All right, go ahead.
So for me, I don't do time stuff, but I'm doing it for your sake. No problem.
We can do 3 minutes if you need more.
It's not about that at all. It's just I'm not used to these time discussions, but it's no problem. So what I mentioned to you earlier was about the Gospel of John. In John, we have the great I am statements. Before Abraham was I am the Father are one.
Wait. You are going from one place to another. What is the topic that you're talking about? What is the topic? Can we?
You're cutting me now.
Okay, let's stop the clock, please. Okay, let's say here. Okay, here. What is your agenda of this conversation?
So where's the guy? This guy here.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know his name?
No, I don't. I just met him today.
You just met him today?
Yeah.
And the other guy, you met him today?
Yeah, I've seen him here before, but I
don't know his name.
Him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, he was.
I just know they're Christian. That's all.
That's fine. So he was discussing with one of my other brothers who's not here now.
Okay.
And then he was asking about the categorization between authentic narrations, Sahih Hadith, and Da'if Hadith. Okay. So I didn't know the full details of what they were saying, but I listened to a little bit, and I said, okay, I'm just going to clarify one thing about authentic narrations. So he was satisfied with the answer, and that was it. That was the end of it. I then asked him, can I ask you now about your mode of transmission in Christianity? Okay. And I'm sure I remember you being there at that time. So I then asked, for example, John, before Abraham was I am. We find a statement in John, before Abraham was I am. How do we know that John wrote John? And I was speaking to the gentleman in the blue polo shirt, and I was speaking to him, both of these two.
Yeah.
And then I said, do we know that John wrote John? And then you jumped in and said, yes, we know that John wrote John.
Yeah.
And I said, how do we know that John wrote John? You said he's the beloved disciple. I asked, how do you know that he's the beloved disciple, firstly? And secondly, with the end of John 21, who's speaking there? Where it says, and just for the record, if you don't mind.
Should I start the clock? Yeah,
you should have started a long time ago.
No, you can start it.
Yeah.
Because
This is recap. This is recap what I'm doing.
Okay, we're just recapping what he's saying, and then he's going to get this 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a specific topic because I'm going to ask you questions about Quran. Is that okay?
So right now the topic.
We discussed the Quran initially. We discussed it before I even came.
But I wasn't there.
Okay, but I'm asking my question.
You're going to ask me question, but I'm going to ask you question.
Yeah.
If you answer my question, I'll answer your question. Is that okay?
So look, you know the Quran and the Bible, they're two different books, of course, yeah? So if we're discussing one thing in detail, okay.
It's not one thing in detail. It works like this.
You made the claim that John wrote John.
I made the claim that we have I gave you the chain of narration.
You don't answer. John wrote John because the Quran X, Y, and Z. That's not how you. That's not. If you're talking about this a specific subject, you made the claim to me. I was discussing with these guys freely. You made the claim to me. Yes, we know John wrote John. I was like, okay, how do you know John wrote John? Now you're saying.
And I gave you the answer, right?
What did you say?
I say that we have the early church fathers. They had this question asked before, and they did answer it at that time with the.
And I'm questioning that. That's the point. Okay. Now you don't answer John wrote John by saying, well, in the Quran.
But that's the second question. First we get to one question. No. It's a back and forth. Look. Because the thing is this. The thing is this.
I came in here. They asked me a question. I clarified my answer. I spoke at length. I answered all their objections to both of these two guys. Yeah. Okay.
So are you afraid of answering questions about Islam?
Are you afraid? You're afraid.
I'm not. I answer. I'm saying.
I'm questioning your answer.
No, the thing is, you're having a double standard. The thing is, if I ask you the same question, who wrote the Quran?
It's not.
You don't know who wrote the Quran.
It's not that at all. It's not that.
Do you know who wrote the Quran?
Do you agree that this is a different subject?
No.
Let's start with did John write John?
Do you agree? Do you agree?
Listen, you can.
Hang on. Do you agree? Do you agree it's a different subject?
No. I asked you. I said to you.
How?
I said to you.
What has
I
the
want to have a
Quran?
conversation. Okay. I don't want to have a monologue because you're saying I want to ask you a question, but you cannot ask me a question.
What has the Quran?
That's not right.
What has
you
the
have
Quran?
A double standard,
what
sir.
has? No, it's not.
Sir, you cannot ask me a question, and if I ask you a question, say no. You can't ask me a question.
That's a whole different subject.
No. It's the same subject.
Anyway,
because if you say this book, I don't have reliability.
What I'm saying.
What's the reliability of your book?
Yeah. You can question that.
And you should answer that.
You can question that, and we can discuss that. That's not a problem. But in a discussion on John writing John, okay, when, for example, these academic non-Muslim scholars, when they discuss it, do they bring in the Quran? Do they say, well, irony? Hang on. No. Because what I don't want to do is enter a discussion and you start machine gunning, throwing everything.
No.
The question was simple. No. Listen to me.
That's the way you don't want me to machine gun you. I don't want you to machine gun me with this question and say,
I spoke to three of you.
I said I answered you.
I spoke to three of you.
I have a question for you.
I spoke to three of you.
I'm just going to keep asking my question.
Listen, I spoke to three of you at the same time.
No, you didn't. You were talking to these guys, they didn't have the... He called me, he said, can you come over here?
Who?
The guy in the blue one, that one.
Okay, so I was speaking to him, I was speaking to the older one, hang on, the older one over there, and you as well, at the same time.
I haven't even spoken to you right now. I just answered some questions that you were asking.
Listen. You butted into the conversation then. If you want to put it that way.
I was invited into the conversation with my...
Listen. If you don't want to answer, just say...
I answered you.
Then let me question that.
No. You're coming with another question.
This is the thing.
No. The thing is this. You're saying
I said to you.
You asked me a question. I said, look.
Take you lot's camera. Where's you lot's camera?
This was written by John.
Take
He said, who wrote this?
Who's it? I don't know which one is which.
You don't want to answer it because you don't want to answer who wrote the Quran. Do you know who wrote the Quran?
The Quran, as in the manuscripts?
Yes.
In terms of the manuscripts or in terms of the scribes of the Prophet?
The Quran you have right now.
Mu'adh bin Jabal was one of the scribes of the Prophet. So we know.
Do you have his Quran?
We have chain of transmission.
Sir.
We have listen. Again.
Hold on.
Take these, because this is
Oh, so you, that's good. Listen to me. You said you haven't done it. No. I said, listen, who was the one who compiled the Quran? Who was the one? First one. No.
First one. Yeah. So there was different compilations. Okay, Aisha had her own compilation. Ali bin Abi Talib had his own compilation, and many of the Sahaba.
Abu Bakr had a compilation.
Yes.
Okay, was that the first one?
Allahu Alam is the first one.
Sorry?
Allah knows.
You don't know. Okay, you're saying this book. I have a question about the authenticity. Your book, you don't even know who wrote the first compilation of yours.
Okay, so
you don't know.
Can I answer?
Do you know that?
Can I answer?
Can you answer it? Thank you.
All right. So Irenaeus, for example.
No.
Exactly.
You're talking about.
Exactly.
Do you understand that?
Exactly.
So now you run away.
That's the point.
This is Islam.
This is the point.
This is how he wants to debate.
This is the point.
This is why you were debating those guys.
This is what you just did.
This is what you do with this.
Okay.
Islam does that. We're going to ask Christians questions.
Just for the record.
But if you ask me the same question, I'm going to run away. And I have a right to do that because I'm going to say, well, you're not answering my question. Sir, your Quran, you cannot, you say this book is not authenticated. Okay. Your Quran has no original manuscript.
Okay.
You don't have it.
All right. Must be? Okay. Okay, at first, you seemed like a reasonable guy, but clearly you was lying. Clearly you was being deceitful. I said to you, I'm trying to be reasonable. We can do 2 minutes if you want to do 2 minutes. Every time I spoke now, you've jumped and stopped because you're scared of this Irenaeus question, which we will have to get back to. But because now you've done exactly what I said you shouldn't do in a discussion like this. If we're discussing one thing, you bring up a whole different subject and says, what about this? Go point for point. I'm not just going to accept. If I don't accept Bukhari said X, and that therefore Bukhari, I have to blindly follow. Bukhari has to show his working. So when you said Irenaeus says X, Y, or Z, I don't just accept Irenaeus. I have the right to question it. Let alone you telling me Irenaeus said it, therefore you can't question. Of course I have the right to ask you. Now, because you've done this whole diversion tactic, yes you have, because you've done this whole diversion tactic of asking about Quranic manuscripts, again, opposing your belief upon us. Our religion is not based, our transmission of the Quran is not based upon manuscripts. That's the first mistake you've made. Now, your religion is based upon manuscripts from unknown authors that you have to dust up.
Timing this.
No. If you're not being patient, you can go. It's fine. So all you've done is just divert now. I want to talk about one subject. We want to talk about the Quran. So in terms of the first one, Abu Bakr had a Quran that was then passed down to Aisha, no doubt. Ali had a compilation. Many of the Sahaba had compilations. If you're asking of the first one, it's very hard to tell because they're all in the Prophet's lifetime. Okay. Now, in terms of manuscript, the Prophet's lifetime, companions wrote down their.
No, I'm talking about compilation, not like that.
In terms, every Ibn Abbas, Ibn Mas'ud, they all had their own compilation of the Quran. It was under Uthman that it was unified under one. Okay. Now, this has nothing to do with Irenaeus saying that John wrote John. The only reason you've done that is because you didn't know what you're talking about.
Okay, who wrote Surah Al-Baqarah?
Again,
who wrote Surah Al-Baqarah?
Are we gonna do like Bible and Quran?
Okay, the thing is this.
You don't say this. Don't say if you talk about Bible, I'm gonna talk about Quran. And then when I mention about my criticism about Irenaeus, and then I show you is our belief of the Bible.
That's why I said
right now you're not gonna talk about nothing about the Bible. You're only going to divert and talk about the Quran, which was not what we're speaking about. So I guarantee, all of these cameras are watching, you're not going to say nothing about Irenaeus and my rebuttal to it. Go on.
Okay, let me say something. You've had your say, right? So I can say now.
I'm waiting for you to talk about Irenaeus.
Okay, let me talk. I don't have to talk about what you want me to talk about. I know you want me to say something that you want me to say.
That was the whole discussion.
I'm going to say what I want to say about in response to what you said.
Then do you know what? Do you know what happens? Just one thing. You know what happens if you do that? If you open up that kind of worms of moving topic to topic, then that allows me.
You haven't even heard what I was going to say.
You haven't heard the time I spoke. You've done that. No. Just now you allowed me to speak. Okay. Prior to that, you was cutting me. You elevated the tone of this discussion, not me. Yeah.
I'm bringing it down,
so
right?
Try and bring it down, please. Yeah, okay. The cameras are watching now. So
they're watching for you too.
So before that, we was talking about Irenaeus, no problem. As soon as the cameras came, you started to jump. You became irate, and then you wanted to jump. So this
became
no.
Okay, that's fine. Now why are we going back and forth?
So what I want to say, if you do this thing where every time I question something, you say, well, what about this? What about that? What about that? Then when you're asking me now, imagine if I was to do the same thing.
If you stop, then I can respond to it.
Let me finish.
Let me know when you're finished.
I'll let you know, definitely, and I won't take too long. So what you just did now, I asked you a specific question. We had a discussion earlier with the other guys, and then I answered a specific question, and then you said, well, what about this? Now imagine now, when you ask me what about this, I ask you about something else now. How many topics are we going to go through without even understanding one? Now I guarantee you that when you speak, you're not going to address Irenaeus. You're just going to jump to the Quran. So go. You can speak now.
You finished?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. I have no problem talking about the Bible. And I did that before. And I tried to explain to you, Christianity did not start when the Bible was written. Christianity started way before the Bible was. Okay? So our faith and our religion is not based on what narration, who and this and that. Our faith is totally, even there was no Bible written, because of what Jesus did, and if you believe that, you'll be saved. That's our belief. So this whole thing about narration and who wrote this and what does it say this is because of your perspective, because your Quran has nobody who wrote down the Quran. You have you don't have Ali Abu Bakr's Quran, which was the first compilation. Why you don't have it? You don't. Not just you. I've asked a lot of Muslims here. Nobody knows why you don't have it. Why do you not have the full Uthmanic Quran? Nobody knows where the copies of those Qurans were sent to the capitals of Islamic world, which was ruling those areas. There was no Jew or Christian who took it from them. They had it. Now they don't have it. And those were not written on paper like Bible was in the beginning. It was written on parchment, which lasts for centuries. So those things would not have been disappeared unless your people did it. So you don't have your Quran. You don't know who wrote it. Okay, you have people, you say, well, they were Sahaba. What were the name of who wrote the Baqarah ayat? How do we know he wrote all the ayats in there? There are so many discrepancies in your own narratives, in your own Islamic narrative. There are, I used to say this, now I forgot about this one. Okay. There are so many examples of that.
Let me know when you're done.
I will be done and then you will know, and that, like I let you speak. Now, in the Bible, like you say, oh yeah, how do we know? I said, listen, Christianity was your hadiths. Hadiths are the sayings of the Prophet. Those are written 200. We're not counting the time. He said, don't count the time. Hadiths were written 200 years after Muhammad. Hadiths, these are hadiths. The red letters in here are the Christian hadiths, which means what Jesus said. The sayings of Jesus are the hadiths of Jesus. These are in here.
Remember this point.
These were written.
Really good point.
These were written within 90 years of Jesus by the people who were.
Wrap it up now. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you
okay.
waffle.
So I'm just addressing the same point. I let you speak for a long time.
No.
And now I have like hardly 2 minutes.
You just done 2 minutes.
No. Listen, how many minutes did you have?
Was it more than 2 minutes?
Of course you had.
No,
You had more than 2
For a long
minutes.
time.
If it was, okay, just wrap it up.
And you kept interrupting him.
Wrap it up.
Well,
He's interrupting
And
me.
the topic was, did John write John?
The topic is what is the reliability of your book, and I'm saying the reliability of this book. The reliability of this book. Okay, the reliability of this book is established from the beginning of Christianity, from the people who were there.
Okay.
So if you come across and say, well, we don't know this and that, this is like something
That's fine.
Okay, but your Quran, now you're running away from your Quran and your hadith. They were written very long.
I'll give you 2 minutes. You didn't wrap it up.
Okay, so you're gonna get 2 minutes? Are we doing 2 minutes?
Just wrap it up. Just wrap it up, please. Is there anything else you want to add?
Okay. The wrap. Okay, I'm gonna have my last say. We'll give you 30 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
Bible was written by the people who were there, by the eyewitnesses. It has been attested by the eyewitnesses. You don't need a chain of narration when you have eyewitnesses.
All right,
Islam was not written by eyewitnesses, so you need a chain of narration.
Now you're taking liberties.
That's it.
Okay.
I have to say my say.
That's fine. Don't take liberties.
Liberties? What do you mean
don't
liberties?
Take liberties.
I have liberty. You don't have liberty.
That's fine.
In Islam, you don't have liberty. I have liberty.
Okay. Now you're attacking. Okay,
thank you. No, I am, because you're attacking me.
Now you're attacking me.
You're saying you're taking liberties. What
don't
liberties?
Take liberties with the time. Don't take liberties with the time.
Okay, with the time. Okay,
Yes.
fine. Are we doing 2 minutes then?
Listen, just let me speak, please. Yeah.
So you don't want to take 2 minutes?
Just let me speak.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
So notice now that you did not address anything at all to do with Irenaeus. Now, we discussed these guys before. We had this discussion. You made the claim that John wrote John. I was speaking to someone else, and you butted in and said, yes, John wrote John. Now, you made the claim, not me. I didn't claim that. When I asked you to demonstrate it, you said, yes, we can, the church fathers. I asked, which church fathers? You didn't know the name. I said, what, Irenaeus, 180. You said, yes, that's the one. So it was you that made the claim. So why are you saying now this claim is not important? Okay, you opened the Bible and you said that these are our narrations. These red letters, you open a red letter Bible and you said these are the narrations found in the gospel. These are our hadith. The manuscripts that you have, I told you already, our religion is not based, our sources are not based upon manuscripts. Okay, we have chain of transmission and isnad and consensus at every time. When you mention these, and this is the irony, Utiaz, my brother here. This is the irony. They have a problem with Bukhari. Most of their manuscripts that they use to revive their text come after after Bukhari, not after Jesus, after Bukhari. We often hear from Christians now that the most widely attested to manuscript document in history from manuscript tradition is the Bible. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of manuscripts. Okay, he's burning now. Now, what we say is that most of these manuscripts, 95% or 93%, I've done the maths itself, they come after Bukhari, but yet they attack Bukhari like they did earlier, and he did as well. They have a problem with Bukhari, who died a few centuries after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but yet their manuscripts come after the Bukhari. So we go back to the original question: how do you transmit anything from Jesus? All the great I am statements where you claim that Jesus is God, before Abraham was I am the Father are one, I am the way, the truth, the life, all found in John. I showed him at the end of John, if you don't mind. The end of John, it mentions the end of John, again, just for the record, he never addressed it. This is the disciple which testifies of these things and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true. My question to him earlier, which he clearly said he don't know, and I want him to say he doesn't know on camera. Who is the we and who is the his? We know that his testimony is true. This we here, they're speaking first person plural, they're giving us the transmission. Now, if this is the gospel with the highest Christology, the highest view of Jesus, yeah, how can they now not know who that we is? When we're getting that view of Jesus that shows that he's God, we're getting this through these unknown people. So he didn't address anything to do with how do we know that what Irenaeus says is true, that John wrote John. He never addressed anything like that at all. I'll give him another opportunity to address it, and I'll also ask him who is the we. Just for the record, he mentioned earlier that he doesn't know who the we is. I just want to see if he's consistent and he's good enough to say that on camera he doesn't know who wrote this part here of we, as in the one who's transmitting to us. The second thing is he mentioned the Quran, we have to deal with it. The only thing he can do, rather than address the answer, he has to say, well, what about the Quran? Okay, we have chains of transmission with biographies of scholars and transmitters from the companions. In fact, I've set in front of scholars, Sheikh Rabi, for example, 27 people in the chain. He shows his, I'll wrap up now, he shows his transmission, and it's not just Sheikh Rabi, many scholars, they have chains of transmission where they can show the name of the people in the isnad, but we don't even need that, that's for narrations. We have ijma, consensus. In the time of Uthman, why didn't they rebel against Uthman? Those who Uthman was killed, why did they not kill him for changing the Quran? They killed him for something else. Why? The easiest thing they could have said, he corrupted the Quran. Nobody had that connection. And I'll wrap up there.
Are you done?
I've done, what was that, 30 seconds over? A minute? No problem.
Okay, thank you. So
No problem.
it's all right. Okay, I did address, now let's address the we. He said, who was the we in the...
Verse 21 is missing.
Naam. Manuscripts. Barakallahu fiik. Yeah.
17 to 2, nothing.
Naam.
I got many of them like that example.
Naam. Jazakallahu khair. Yeah.
Are you listening?
I'm listening now.
Okay, thank you. All right, you asked me who the we are.
Who's the we? And how do we know Irenaeus? These are my two main questions. Who's the we? And how do we know that Irenaeus, when he said John wrote John, how do we know he's correct? Where's his working? Please.
Okay, so the we are the Christians. We are the Christians. About him is Jesus, that his testimony is true.
Wow.
Okay, that's what the answer is. Now, Irenaeus, I just told you that in Christianity, our faith is not, because our Bible is transmitted by eyewitnesses and the people who interviewed the eyewitness in the first generation, right? We don't need a long chain of narration because we're not writing those things 200-300 years after the fact. Okay, so we don't need what you have. Your Quran and your Hadith are dependent on narration because you don't have any eyewitnesses to any of those statements. So there are a lot of problems with those narrations that you're talking about. It's not, a lot of people don't even believe in all the Sahih Hadith. I come here weekly, I talk to Muslims, when I show them Hadith, they say, oh, I don't believe in that Hadith. Oh, it's a Sahih Hadith, it's Sahih Muslim, it's Bukhari. No, I don't have to believe it. Oh, it's not the word of Allah, I only believe in Quran. How many times they dance around their Hadith? It's unbelievable, it's already on camera. If you guys are like picking up you don't have anything to, once you look at your book, the questions that Muslims ask are because of the problems they have with their text. They think that those same problems can be applied to the Bible. It cannot, because the Bible does not work like this, the Quran does. because it wasn't written 300 years after the fact. It was written by the people or the people who were interviewing the eyewitnesses. That's my answer. What's your other question? If I'm forgetting something, I want to cover it.
So the two ones it should have been three, but two ones I asked you, who's the we?
I asked you that.
Okay, we're going to check that. And Irenaeus, when he says John wrote John, where did he get that from?
Okay, he's the church father. This is from the people that were there. So, so you're saying John had disciples. Polycarp, he said, is one of the disciples. There are others so they are the ones who were there to know if John is not correct or if this is something not written by him, they can correct that.
Allah Akbar.
Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So because they're
the same thing that he's gone. Sorry, I'm not going to
okay, now
Remember that point.
that point does not convert into like the same argument as the Muslims because you don't have the eyewitnesses that did that. You have narration. Oh, someone that called this and his father that and that father uncle said this, that Muhammad said this. Okay, we don't have that. And then some of them said, no, that's a weak hadith. No, that's not a reliable. And even if it's Sahih hadith, if it doesn't work with the Quran, then we don't accept it. Even if it has a chain I asked this question 10 times. If it has a chain of narration, is that a Sahih hadith? Well, maybe not. Because if it has a right chain of narration, but it doesn't work with the Quran's theology, then we don't consider it. That's how your religion works, and you think that that's how the Christianity doesn't work like that. We don't have these issues. You guys have these issues. That's my answer.
Okay. So notice again, he said something which is 4 things I want to 4 points. If you don't mind, I can borrow your Bible again. Yeah. He said on camera, and I'm shocked at this one. I'm very shocked at this. He said on camera that this is the disciple which testifies these things and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true. He said the him here is Jesus.
Yes.
He actually on camera.
We
he
know,
said,
yes.
Yeah. He said.
Your understanding is different than ours.
So who's the? Listen. This is the disciple. Is that Jesus? If he's saying that's Jesus,
that's a disciple.
This is the first ever.
That is John speaking to other Christians and telling them the testimony of Jesus is correct. That's all it's saying.
So now, this disciple here, who is it? Who is the disciple?
John.
Okay. Which testifies of these things and wrote these things. You said that was Jesus.
The testimony of Jesus.
No, he said that testify that his testimony, Jesus' testimony is true.
No.
Who believe in the testimony.
This is the disciple.
Okay, my friend.
No.
It's your misunderstanding, your interpretation of it.
No.
This is not what it's saying. I've already answered
It's fine, it's on camera.
Okay, I'm not going to
answered
answer him anymore because he's keep giving his interpretation of that and saying this is what it means.
There you go.
So you can take that as his interpretation.
If there's any Muslim cameras, I'll carry on.
I'm not responding anymore. You can go ahead with your interpretation.
You must do. You know you're wrong.
I'm not.
No Christian exegesis, as far as I'm aware, would ever say that the disciple who wrote these things and testified these things is Jesus. I'm speaking. No? Yeah. No, he just said it. He said it. He said it.
He's been saying it that John is the disciple.
Okay, fine. The thing that I mentioned earlier before the camera, how do we know that John is the beloved disciple? He said someone else said it, so we believe it. The second thing is who's the we?
Yeah, the we.
He said earlier off camera, we don't know who the we is.
Yeah, because they all died how many thousands of years ago?
I'm speaking.
They died thousands, so we don't know who they are.
So do you agree now? And he said earlier that the we is unknown. We don't know who the we is.
No, I said they were the Christians that he's addressing.
The Christians.
Yes.
Is that your answer?
Yeah,
the Christians.
Yes,
Okay.
there were
Which
thousands of
Christians?
We don't know who
The Christians that he's addressing in the book.
Did Christians lie in the name of Jesus? Did some Christians lie in the name of Jesus?
I don't know. We're not going to the next topic. Are you changing the topic? Are you changing the topic?
Because it goes back to the same topic about forgery. How do you understand forgery? For him, being Christian is enough. If a Christian says to you, jump off a cliff, you're going to land on a bouncy castle, that's enough. If a Christian says to you...
Are you not changing the topic? You sound like you are. He's going all over the place. When I did that, you just said, no, don't go all over the place. No, you do it.
No, because the we here, you don't know who it is.
Sorry, I told you who it is.
Who?
I said that we are the Christians that he's addressing, and he's saying his testimony is Jesus' testimony.
When these people, when they attack Islam, they cannot attack Islam except by falling into the same criticism that they criticize the Muslims with. But yet, let me finish. Now,
You didn't address
let me
my
finish.
attack
Let
on
me
Islam
finish.
because you can't address
Let me
it.
finish.
You cannot address the attack that I did on Islam right now. I said to you,
He's
you have
cutting
a
my
problem because
I
you
was
have
patient for him.
you don't have eyewitnesses.
I was patient for
you
him.
Didn't. You
I was
didn't come
patient
back
for
with
him.
that. No,
I
I'm just
was
letting
patient for
pointing
him.
it out.
I was
Your
patient for him.
diplomacy
he
here.
said,
what you're playing.
he said, let's hold it down. He said that we don't have what Muslims do. My uncle, this uncle. He just said Christians. This is the highest Christology, this gospel. But he said, well, Christians said it, so we accept it. But then when he said to the Muslims, oh, they take from their uncles. No, we don't take from our uncles and so and so. We take from the names of the people. He mentioned eyewitnesses.
I'm so glad we are on camera.
One of the conditions of an authentic hadith is that it has ittisal, is connected chain. A hadith that has القتاء is disconnected, like the mursal, for example, is a category of weak narration. Where the sahabi, where the eyewitness is missing, that's a category of weak narration.
So why don't you address the point that why Muslims say that if it doesn't jive with the Quran...
I'm speaking and I never cut you. So then he says we have eyewitnesses. Okay? For us, an authentic narration has to come via a sahabi, eyewitness. Okay? Same with the Quran. The Quran recension that we have comes via Abu Bakr, comes from Ali, from Uthman, from many of the Sahaba. It's a joke. Yeah. The second thing now is that he said we have eyewitnesses, and I'm so glad he said it. Was Luke an eyewitness?
No, not all of them.
Was Mark an eyewitness?
No, I said we... Okay,
Mark
are you going to misquote me? I'm going to interrupt if you misquote me.
I never made a claim.
No, you
I never made a
misquoted me.
claim. You
I
made a
did
claim.
not say that. I said we have eyewitnesses and we have people who interviewed eyewitnesses.
Okay, like
Luke said I interviewed the eyewitnesses to
like,
give you the right account.
So
he
if
said
Luke,
that.
So now let's look at this example. He cut me. Now let's look at this example. He mentioned
No, if you're
Luke.
going to start misquoting me all over the place, I'm going to have to come in and correct you.
Why did I not cut you? Even
No,
though you like,
I didn't misquote you.
I never
That's
cut
why.
you.
I don't do that.
I never cut you.
I'm not a Muslim. Muslims misquote Christians. Christians don't misquote Muslims.
This guy's running away.
I don't have to
He's
misquote
running away. I don't have to do ad hominem attacks to get away from the point. Now, what he said that we have eyewitnesses. Okay? I asked who these eyewitnesses. He said Christians. Remember,
I didn't. That's
Christians.
another lie. I said in here he's addressing Christians. I didn't say those Christians who had no input in that text or in that verse. They're just passive audience that he's addressing. And he's saying, oh, you're saying they're eyewitness. I'm not saying they're eyewitness. I'm saying they're passive audience that he's addressing.
So for example,
hello, sir. Please stop misquoting. Without lies, Islam dies. It's proven on camera.
I never cut you.
Because of you.
I never cut you.
You're proving Islam
I never
is
cut
false.
you.
That's all. Thank you. Go ahead.
That's
Please,
ad hominem
you're doing
again.
a good job.
I never cut you.
You're doing a great job.
I never cut you. Okay. So then he mentions if Irenaeus, when we mentioned the issue of Irenaeus, who's one of the earliest people who died 180, who said that John wrote John. He said if Irenaeus was wrong, the Christians would have corrected him. But yet when Uthman, he compiled the Quran, the same thing that he said about Irenaeus, why didn't I say that about Uthman? Why did the people that killed Uthman was killed by the Khawarij. Why did they not accuse him of changing the Quran? Same problem. Okay? The second thing, when he says that Christians said this, when Luke, for example, at the beginning of Luke, let's read it. At the beginning of Luke, it says this.
Yes, we know what he says.
No, we
okay,
don't.
Read it.
Let's hear it.
Let's read it.
Let's hear what Luke says.
Let's read it.
Okay.
I said he interviewed the eyewitnesses. That's what I said.
Okay.
Let's see
and
if Luke says that.
And who are these eyewitnesses?
Let's read.
For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most likely believed among us, even as they delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses, I agree it says that, and ministers of the word, it seemed good to me, also having had perfect understanding. Now, he's saying he got it from eyewitnesses. Who? Show your working. Which eyewitnesses? Which eyewitnesses? If you said, you can't just say Christian said it. The person says to you, I'm an eyewitness. Imagine if I said to you, I'm an eyewitness of Jesus.
Can I respond to it now or should I wait till you're done? Can I respond to it now?
So what I've done, I'm gonna recap.
I can respond right now if you want.
I'm gonna recap, yeah? So the first thing, he never addressed the Irenaeus thing. The second thing, he said we have eyewitnesses. Name one eyewitness. If he goes to Mark, Mark's not an eyewitness. If he goes to Luke, Luke's not an eyewitness.
Matthew,
if he goes
John
to Matthew, I will tell him that Matthew was written in Greek, and the original disciple Matthew, who was an Israelite tax collector, wouldn't have been proficient in Greek. the Greek of Matthew.
Yes,
so
he
this
would
is not-
be.
this is
Yes,
not
he
the
would
one.
be. If he's
Because
educated,
no,
that's
because
the
the
lingo
tax-
Africa, he
because the
would
tax-
be,
no.
all of them would be
Show
proficient in
your
Greek.
evidence. Show your proof.
That's
how do you
the lingo
know?
Africa.
How do you know
That's historical.
Matthew? How do you know Matthew was that proficient in Greek? That's your assumption. He has to be. That's the only way you can explain it. And then
So
the
you'll
last
be
of the
using a
gospel-
machine gun
and
with
then-
all the points you're making. It's a machine gun
It's the
on
same
me.
principle.
But if I do the same to you, oh, don't machine gun me. Stick with one point. You're going all over the place. He
Don't
was
shout.
this. He
Don't
was that.
shout.
Show me this. Show me that.
Don't shout.
10 different things you have
Calm down.
mentioned. No,
Calm
no,
down.
no. I'm
This is in
going to make a
response
point.
to his point.
This is what
We
you
have no
do.
eyewitnesses.
But if I do that, Muslims are,
let
oh,
it all
look, he's
show.
doing that.
Let it all show.
But when
He
he's
wants to
doing
shout
it,
over.
Muslims are
He's
quiet.
saying that we have no eyewitnesses. When I rebutted it,
You have no,
This is
you do the same.
That's
This is
fine.
called Islamic
That's fine.
double standard.
That's fine.
I can do this,
And now-
and now I'm going to run away because
I'll
he's
let-
going to
I'll
answer
let you
all
have the
the
last
things
word.
that I've mentioned.
30 seconds, go on. I'm gonna go.
30
There you
seconds.
go.
No, how long will it take you to make
Listen,
the point?
listen.
He makes
You're
the point
becoming
in
irate.
5 minutes.
You-
He said you have 30 seconds to respond to my 5-minute machine gun points that
Yeah.
I've made
I'm-
all these
every
points.
point you're addressing,
so I'm
I've
going to run
addressed.
away.
Every
Run
point you
away.
mentioned.
It's better for you to run away before
fine, that's fine.
before I completely humiliate you
That's
and
fine.
your prophet
That's fine.
and your religion.
That's fine.
As I do here weekly.
That's fine.
I'm about to do that. This is your last chance to get out of here.
What it will do-
If you want to get out of here, this is your
I'm
last
not
chance.
shouting in your face. I'm
No,
not
no, no.
shouting.
It's my
Listen,
time to
You're
speak.
coming across quite aggressive. You seem irate. I might have
I'm
touched
not
a nerve.
irate.
Calm down.
You're like taking.
Calm down.
No,
Calm
no,
down.
no. Are you going to run
Because
away?
If I was to
I'm
shout,
not-
shout over
Are you running away?
I let you speak when it was your turn.
Are you running
You never
away?
let me speak
Are
when it's
you
my
running
turn.
away?
Listen,
No,
listen.
you're running away.
If you don't answer the question that I give, are you listening to me? Okay.
You see how irate you get?
No.
When I go,
no,
I didn't even. And you were
down.
taking off your mic
Calm down.
after you said, "Oh, I've said it."
Calm down.
You have 30 seconds to
No,
respond to my
no.
whole speech that I just gave with all the
You know why?
points I
You know
made.
why?
You have 30 seconds,
You know why?
or I'm leaving right
You know
now.
why? You know what? Don't be scared of me, my friend. My friend.
Don't touch me.
My friend.
I'm talking to him.
Listen. Don't be scared of me. I'm not gonna.
No, I'm not. Your brother is pulling me.
So
Muslims are all come and
when
get
the brother,
very physical
when
here.
the brother came to me with the 2 books and mentioned something, what did you say to me? Are you listening? So that's why I said to you, are you listening to me? Okay, you didn't like it. So that's all I did was to make sure you're listening to me.
he's rapping.
No. Yeah. So everything that I've mentioned here is in direct response to your claims. My initial claim was that you, how do you know Irenaeus? You claimed knew that John wrote John. How can you back that up? You made the claim, not me. Okay. You didn't do it in your first addressing to me. You haven't done it in your second one, and all you can do is shout over me. If you can't address that first point, then we're done. What's the point?